Arguments in Personal Transformation Tactics. How to Build Self-Esteem. Down through the centuries, many questions and introductory lead to arguments in which professing experts stepped up to introduce techniques that would help children make personal transformation while building self-esteem. The techniques were proven to assist children through the self-development process. Despite that, facts were present. Other confessed professionals argued against such techniques. For example, Vygotsky ventured into the academic world to introduce what we know today as private speech. At one time, it was known as self-talk. Unfortunately, many professionals in the psychology sectors misinform clients, since many tell them that talking to the self is a sign of mental or emotional disorders. Opposing to their misgiving, other professionals stepped in and proved them wrong. Today, many academic sectors are teaching children the importance of using inner talk to solve their problems. Proven track records had led many professionals in education to believe that private speech, or self-talk, can train children effectively, more so over common tactics of the past. Today, children are learning at rapid paces because the world is more open-minded and willing to try new things. Many of the past academic ways had failed, so now the educational programs are moving to teach children the value of using their natural gifts, such as self-talk, to probe into the mind to solve their problems. They ask themselves questions, which ultimately leads to subliminal learning. This is another proven strategy that has effectively helped many people heal as well as solve their problems. In furtherance to Vygotsky's view, children who appeal to private speech when coming across problems tends to break down the tasks and concurrently think through their experiences and any relation that may be of an analogous nature for a solution. Self-talk is openly measured as a purpose in which one can interactively work within the pragmatic frame of self-development by using reason and thought. In his experiments, it was deduced that the results had proven his thesis that children that produce more private speech during problem-solving tends to execute their tasks more conceptualized and effective way. On the other hand, his studies could not settle on the amount of dimension of private speech could essentially affect the quality of the tasks being executed or carried out. It is accordingly congregated that a child's development can be pretentious or rather influenced in a certain manner in which how he or she conduct the processes of using self-talk to make personal changes. The hypothesis of the process should be unsympathetically guided, or else it could swerve from the intended objective of improving the child's cognitive development into senseless, self-directed speech that makes no difference in their learning. This is the view of a professional psychologist known as Piaget. Ironically, despite that, many arguments developed and purposely lead nowhere. Self-talk is encouraged in our schools today. Still, we must understand the process of cognition development. Cognition development is the process or act of knowing. Through one's knowledge that one can develop his attention, memory, perceptions, judgment, reason, imagination, or creative mind, thinking, and speech. We see then that based on this definition, the self has the capacity to train itself to develop innate qualities and skills. Cognitive psychology is the scientific study of cognition, which is an ongoing learning process that never seems to end with a fact-based answer in most instances. Still, psychologists and other mental health experts are coming a long way, since they too are recognizing the value of natural learning. Go online today and learn more about the building of your self-esteem through personal transformation. Work in Personal Transformation Self-Esteem. We are encouraged to think light on our feet. In addition, we are encouraged to make personal transformations that gives us 3 essential qualities required in today's workplace. These qualities include perseverance, determination, and focus. A person that is focused on what he wants and has his mind set in achieving it. A person determined will not put off his or her responsibilities. This person does not suffer from setbacks and discouragement often. The person who perseveres does not give up on his work until he or she achieves his goal. If you have tried in stopping an ant but without killing it, you will easily see that the creature has some qualities that a person must have. You cannot stop the ant from trying to go around, go under, or over whatever obstacles they encounter in its way. If you put an ant on a sealed jar, you will notice that it will try to find its way out by moving anywhere until it lies dead. Ants provide the right example of perseverance, determination, and focus at work. Thinking like an ant. If a person would just try to accept the attitude of the ants, any impediment or challenges that one will bump into could never stop him from achieving your goals. We must continue learning. As long as a person is breathing, he or she must never cease from learning. There is a saying, "The more I know, the more I forget." Some people say that their hunger for knowledge stops when they graduated a university. An entity who thinks in such a way would unquestionably linger as an underachiever for the rest of his despondent life. One can analyze others around them and compare the ones that have continued learning to the ones that think that learning ends after school and see that they continue in life living unhappy. For this reason, personal transformation is encouraged, backed by continuous learning, so that one can maximize his or her full potential. We all must do our best to become better in all aspects of our life. When times are tough, we must stay focused and never surrender. Staying focused allows us to continue putting our best foot forward. Perhaps you tried to make personal transformations by using some methods that failed, but continue employing a winning attitude to succeed the next time. Keep going right back. Make some adjustments until you succeed. We must remember that someone else is capable of succeeding our ability. Remember what Arthur Ashe said, "Success is a journey, not a destination." You are on a never-ending journey of learning, vocation, discipline, and pursuit for higher knowledge. Live, do not worry. Worry is something we all do. Worry robs us of natural energy and makes our lives a living hell. For this reason we must repeat each day, "Sufficient for each day, for no man knows what tomorrow will bring." We all have the inner strength to control worry through prayer. Many things could trigger worry to people, such as family problems, financial difficulties, and even your love life. Sometimes people worry a lot that already affects our performance and even our behavior. If we allow worry to overwhelm our lives, we forget our chief purpose, and that is to continue learning and making personal transformations. It is not proper that you will bring your family problems at work. It will affect your work because of your problems, and you'll upset other people that make you more worried. Try to leave all your domestic problems at home and try to focus on your work at your office and anywhere you are going before you leave for your house. Stop that worrying. Worry in personal transformation and esteem. We all find ourselves at times worrying over things that we do not have control over. For this reason, many people today are seeking ways to reduce stress and eliminate depression. In order to reduce stress, one must stop worrying over things that he or she has no control over. Instead, we must meditate over the things that we do have control over and try to find ways to resolve the problems through personal transformation. One of the best ways to reduce stress is learning effective ways to reduce your worry and solve the problem. If you take action now, by the time you get back home, you can now try to resolve your family problems. In that way, you can now have a normal life, and you can now focus on all the problems you have at home or even at your work. You must control your thoughts. Some people always worry about other people might say. We must do what we feel is consciously right and what we feel we can accomplish. It will steer away all the negatives that causes your worries. Who cares what other people think? Unless these people are offering you support, they are not your friend anyway. We need to make personal transformations that teach us to stay clear of people that bring us down. This means we must start developing personal relationships with positive friends. When people talk about you, what they are doing is telling you how bad they are. They have a low self-esteem, lack confidence, and out to bring others down. Misery loves company. Thus, we must make personal transformations that keep us out of reach of misery. Some of the best ways to cultivate a positive mind is by using affirmatives. We can make positive transformation by using affirmatives. Affirmatives lead us to action. By taking affirmative action, we set policies that inspire us to increase our chance at opportunity. We start to consider continuous learning and favorable promotions. What do affirmatives mean? Affirmatives are defined as true. Affirmatives allow us to confirm or assert that something we are saying is factual. It is an indicative agreement that relates to types of propositional logic. This logic relates to categorical or uncompromising propositions which predicates extensions contained partially or completely within the subject. For instance, the sky is blue. Through affirmatives, we use positive assertion with each word conveyed. Affirmatives build strong self-esteem and confidence. Usually, to use affirmatives, however, one must establish his or her beliefs by gathering facts that support his or her claim. Thus, we must use continuous learning repetitiously in order to make our affirmatives stand. Still, we can use self-talk and other techniques to inspire the self to make personal transformations, which promotes affirmative action. When a person feels unqualified, they tend to feel as though the problem is forever, rather than open the mind to develop skills. An unskilled person has the capacity to make personal transformations through self-development to expand his or her skills. Still, it requires continuous learning, since new information is available each day. So continue the journey down learning avenue, so tomorrow you can affirm that I made it through another day. You have inner strength that you must use to stop worrying and start putting forth effort to make the changes required of you to build your skills and knowledge. Life does not toss you a written manual that tells you what to do. Rather, you must find your way by moving through the self-development process while using your inner strength. Take your journey today to a better tomorrow. Look for the solutions. Personal Transformation Solutions. How to cultivate self-esteem through personal change. Many people fear the term change. They think of change as something that will transform their life forever. In fact, they are on track, since personal change for the better will change their life for the good. We all must learn to accept change. Change is an ongoing task that we all face each day of our life. Change is something that empowers us to strive forward to a better future by learning skills from our knowledge. We have innate solutions that give us strength to make personal change or transformation. We can build self-esteem, confidence, and other healthy traits through personal transformation by using our inner strength. Some of the strengths we naturally have included ability to talk to self. We have the ability to meditate. We have the power to explore the gutters of our mind. We have the strength to use positive persuasion to direct our way in life. We have much inner strength that we can use to assist us through self-development process. Sometimes we have to dissect and break down the inner self in order to make a connection. We all have to make that connection, since the inner self is the one that will take your hand and guide you down the road to success. This means we have to reach inside the self often in order to make the connection and take off down the road to self-development. Often people have to face the demons of their past to get through the self-development and the problems that hold them back from making personal transformations. By facing the problems, one will build self-esteem and make necessary changes to live a happier life, however. We must endeavor while staying focused in order to overcome the trials that set us back from success. For this reason, the New Age is promoting old solutions such as meditation, self-talk, and so forth that has worked for many people over the years. We have to use techniques and skills to complete the self-development process. Despite whether you think if you have the skills or not, you must work to advance your abilities through personal transformation. The truth is, we all have the same skills, yet we work on different levels, poles apart, that leads us to discovering the strongest skills we possess. For instance, some people are natural-born writers, or so it seems, while other people tend to think that they do not have the ability to write. This is far from the truth. By practicing writing techniques daily, one can advance his or her skills and become the next author in the world if he or she chooses to do so. Many people wander through life trying to figure out what their purpose is, which they may think that until they find that purpose, their life is just a walk down a long, lonely highway. First, we all were put here for a purpose, and that purpose is to love one another as one loves himself. We have this amazing gift of love that we must take advantage of to conquer all the barriers that stand in the way of our success. To learn more about personal transformation and self-esteem, visit the Internet and look for New Age solutions. You will find a wide array of the latest promotions and many of the older remedies that have helped people for centuries make positive changes. Do not think that it is too late to get started, because it is never too late. You have each day ahead of you, so make it work for you. Accept the life changes as they come your way. Life-changing transformations. Personal change and self-esteem development. All human beings at one point in their life feel sad, alone, and down in the dumps. Because of the first sin, we all have to feel grief to make way for the feeling of happiness. Every day all of us face challenges. It can be truly simple, like the problem of your dog peeing on the couch, or it may be serious, like your brother facing a case for driving with the influence of alcohol. Whatever the case, problems still cause the feeling of sadness. Since there is no way you can get rid of life's problems, I have put into words ways to make problems less of a burden. You are not alone. It will not help in any way to be asking God questions such as, why does life have to be like this? Or, why do all people seem to be really happy while it seems that all problems have landed on my shoulders? Questions like this will lead you to think that only you face problems. That, my friend, is not at all true. As I have said, each person in this world holds a problem of his own. Even kids face problems like how they could clean all the mess they have made or how they could convince their parent to buy them a pet. It is always nice to know that you are not the only person in the world with problems. Problems do not seem to follow only you. It goes the same with all persons. Thinking about people who face even bigger, more complicated problems will also help. It helps to think that, if compared to other people, your problems seem to shrink into an ant-sized one. Optimism is the key. Problems must be analyzed effectively, rather than viewed as a headache waiting to happen. It will only make you feel as if there is nothing else it will offer you other than suffering, bad mood, and pains. Make personal transformations while looking at the brighter side of the problem. Think of the problem as an opportunity for you to grow. This way they would not seem as if they are burdens, but as blessings simply disguised as problems. It is a blessing in some ways. Take it as a challenge. Look forward to how it will help you in the future. Look at how much lessons it will be teaching you. Anticipate the day when you have finally reached the tip of the problem and finally have solved it. Keeping a positive mind will offer you support. It will be a stepping stone into a better, happier life with lighter problems, which are not actually problems, but blessings. Slow it down. Do not expect things to go as you planned it to, because most of the time it will not. Do not think that problems can immediately be fixed, because most of the time they cannot. It takes time. One needs to focus and stay determined to get ahead. Slow things down and take them gradually. Rushing things will only give you an unsatisfying results and the feeling that you have worked for 5 days straight. Slowly look at the situation and try to fix it. Try to determine what went wrong and what needs to be changed or done. From there, work it out. Do what you think is right. If things do not go as you wish, deal with it. Do not back out. You have gone this far. Just remember that after all these, a feeling of happiness and satisfaction will reign in you. Learn from personal transformation self-esteem. We must learn from our mistakes, rather than allow them to take control of our lives. Learning is our ticket to personal transformation, which builds self-esteem. Learn from it. Do not forget that problems reward you with a bunch of new lessons learned. So determine what knowledge that you have learned from it and hang on to it in your memory. Commit to memory that whatever it is that you have learned is applicable in just any other problem that will come your way in the future. The reason the problem was given you is that He wants you to learn something new. In addition, if you forget that lesson, He will have to give you the same type of problem to help you regain the lesson. So make sure that the lesson remains not only in your mind, but as well as in your thoughts. Change is something that gives us courage and strength, since we can make positive personal transformations that help us to grow. Take your time and figure out what you need to do to make the changes that lead you to success. We can use several psychological techniques to help you along your journey in making positive personal changes. First, consider meditation. Meditation is a mental workout that promotes your mind to focus on an object in which you want to use to expand your knowledge. It opens your mind up to new ideas. You can use meditation to develop your imagination as well. When you are able to develop new ideas, it keeps you pushing ahead. The new ideas can help by encouraging your creative mind to assist you with developing solutions that will assist you with self-development. Personal transformation and self-esteem is part of this process. Life is forever changing. We all must learn something new each day to stay afloat. For this reason, we must encourage our mind to focus, stay determined, and continue learning until the day we leave the world. We have inner strengths that help us to learn. Self-talk, for example, can assist you with practicing meditation. There is nothing wrong with talking to yourself, since you have all the answers that will assist you with completing your self-development. You can expand your skills while broadening your mind by using self-talk. Another great way to expand your mind is by using techniques such as integration. Integration is the process that incorporates your knowledge, experiences, and events of the past in a mixture of assimilation that encourages your mind to reveal hidden messages. These messages are buried in the subliminal mind. Speaking of subliminal learning is encouraged today. We can practice subliminal learning, which will walk us through our past and right into the future. Similar to the steps of a psychoanalytic uses, one can use the subliminal learning to retract and build memory through systematic procedures that walks an entity into the traumas and misconceptions of his or her past and right through the systematic process of self-development simultaneously. It is incredible what the human mind can do. The human mind can store, literally speaking, hundreds of volumes of dictionaries and encyclopedias. In fact, the average human only uses 10% of the brain. Imagine the many smart people in the world operating on this percentage. Now, think of a person that uses 75% plus of their brain. Do not think it is not possible, because continuous learning, subliminal learning, and various other tactics could make you one of the top dictionaries walking the face of the earth. It is possible. Anything is possible, and you just have to believe that. Learn the benefits of using assessment and reflections. Reflections in Personal Transformation Self-Esteem. One might develop the self through assessment and reflections. If, for example, you were dissatisfied with the grades you got on this semester and want even better grades, or maybe let down with the results of your research, there is no other way but to change your ways. The first step is to settle on what went wrong and where aspects you need to improve. Through this, you will know where to start the change. Only you know about your weaknesses and strengths. Therefore, one must reflect on his past knowledge, experiences, and events consistently. You just have to ask yourself, maybe it was because you unconsciously focused more in your extracurricular as a replacement for giving more attention to your academics. Perhaps the reason was that you were not inspired or motivated. Thus, this will tell you how you are going to deal with the next coming semester. After all the reflection, you have to confirm it. If possible, you have to ask your professors, instructors, and teachers. Ask them what aspects pulled your grades down. Maybe it was because you had low scores during quizzes and term tests, or maybe it was because your term paper or project was submitted late. If this cannot be done, ask the folks, your parents. During free time, they know what to do, so surely they have something to say. Ask them how often you open your books and how often you get out with friends. One must learn to balance the self and his life. This includes schoolwork, work, social life, and so forth. To keep your schoolwork in sight and remember your goal ahead that you must meet. Try to think how you perceived everything. Did you see it as a burden? Perhaps it was a blessing. Did you look at it as an opportunity to reach your goals and dreams, or did you see it as something you need to do because your mom said so? In everything you do, you must have a positive outlook. Looking at things as if it were nothing but a headache will make you lose interest in it. It will make you feel as if you want to get nothing from it when in fact you will. Therefore, you must be optimistic. Think of your dreams. If you stop now, what will become of you after? How will you ever get that diploma? Remember that if you start to give up on something, you will have a tendency to give up on everything you do next. Always think of what will come after all those sacrifices. Think about your future job and about your first payday. That way you will be motivated and inspired to do better in your academics. The next step is to change everything you have to change. Everything takes time, so don't try to do everything at once. Go through the process progressively. Make personal transformations that you need to change and slowly apply your learning. If you know that you spent more time sleeping than doing your homework, then this will help you know that your sleeping habit consumed your time and made you miss your deadlines. If your professor told you that the low scores you got on your quizzes and exams pulled your grades down, recall that you only prepared for them a day before. Then this time you will know that you have to focus more on studying at least 3 days before any quizzes. This way, all the things that brought you to those miserable grades will now vanish. Use good applications to make personal transformation. Applications in Personal Transformation. Students building self-esteem. Students are encouraged to examine multiple applications in order to decide what they can do to improve their grades. Moreover, students today are encouraged to make personal transformation that allows them to change the way they think, their attitude, behaviors, study patterns, and so on. By analyzing the self, devoid of relying on others, students can take full advantage of their life. It is not uncommon that students fail examinations and quizzes because they fail to prepare for the exam. Students are now encouraged to improve their grades by preparing ahead. Of course, preparation will take some personal transformations, but overall it is worth your effort. Once students advance their learning skills, it is possible to pass every exam and quiz. The student should at least give him or herself 3 days preparation time rather than 1 day to pass the exam. This means that you will have to sacrifice some of your playtime to focus on your assignments. If you think positive, you would see that education is the best thing that you can do. Continuous learning is required of us all, and it only benefits us. We reap benefits such as living longer, happier, healthier, and so much more. Students reap benefits because once they had achieved their degree, they can continue their journey into a high-paying job and good work environment. Once you figure out which transformational changes you need to make, you are off to a great start. The next time you review your progress after taking an exam, you can pat yourself on the back. Since you have applied everything you have learned during the previous steps, the only thing you need to know is how to maintain the status you have gained. You have to continue looking at things positively and avoiding the things that caused you to have those bad grades. If you continue all these, you will be sure to look forward to grades that will make you say it was all worth it. Some helpful tips. Study with a group of students that are willing to focus on their assignments. When you study in groups, especially groups that will work with you, it keeps you inspired or motivated to finish your task. You want to work in a quiet area. Despite that, you think that listening to television or radio helps you to learn better. You may want to know that studies show that it is not necessarily true. You can often focus better when you are in a quiet area. Make sure that you have sufficient lighting in the study area. When the lighting is good, thus it makes it easier for you, since you will not have to strain your eyes to read your assignment. Keep your study area clean. Rather than sifting through tons of paper to find your textbooks, paper, and other items, saves time by keeping your desk organized. By taking time to prepare for your exam, you will feel more comfortable on the final day. Most students get nervous before exams for a few reasons. 1, they did not study enough. 2, they didn't ask questions when they didn't understand the text. And 3, they are suffering some disorder that interrupts their life. Other issues may arise, but one must try to avoid things by setting up backup plans. Since one never knows when an emergency will occur, it is important to have a backup plan. Plans give us other alternatives when the going gets tough. Overall, when you finish your duties first, you will build self-esteem while making constructive changes that drives you to a home base that is success. Self-esteem improved with transformation. We all have room for development and improvement. Improving oneself is a continuously learning process. Learning carries on throughout our life unless the body and mind becomes unwilling. The process of enhancement is a learning course of action. Knowledge as well as skills can be improved. It is because when we become approachable of our perspective, we try to develop it all the more. We make essential changes to improve our behavior to achieve our full potential. All of our strengths lie within us, which we can use to make the essential modifications. If there is a desire to improve oneself, it is important to develop and build the self-esteem first. Self-esteem is the most important factor in learning how to be free of personal limitations and imperfections. What we wish to achieve, what we desire to be, has to be molded in our mind, starting from early childhood. Somewhere in our childhood, the desire or wish seems to slowly evaporate or blur and is set aside. There are many reasons why this happens. Studies have proven that it has something to do with childhood experiences, more particularly on our early relationships with the immediate family, in the confines of our very home. When we were a child, we would often hear negative remarks from our parents. Phrases like, "You always misbehave," or "Your classmate is better than you." These may be simple words that come out from parents' mouth, but as life goes on, this eventually results to complicated situations. Little by little, the unconstructive words we hear are the same words that we think we really are. It lowers our self-esteem. However, the opposite thing happens when we accomplish or when we are close to achieving something. It boosts our self-confidence with a resultant of high self-esteem. Good organization and competency in everything we need to increase our self-esteem. Self-esteem, good organization, and self-confidence are unswervingly related to each other. When you start to develop one trait, other traits will follow in pursuit, begging for your attention. When one feels a lack of self-confidence, it opens rooms for doubt. Thus, one starts to entertain unconstructive or pessimistic thoughts. We become discontented and lonely. When we are at this lowest point in our life, with the corresponding low self-esteem, it becomes the right time to realize that contentment and self-confidence are far more important than not looking forward to any future. We can never thoroughly do away with fear. On the other hand, when we start little steps to get rid of it, we also start building hand-in-hand self-confidence and self-esteem. With this combination, development of our personality will never be far behind. Fighting against what makes us afraid is very important. If we cannot fight our fear, then facing them will be equally better. We must get through our problems, since it is the main point of living. Analyzing negative thoughts will also help you get through self-development. Try to know where the negative thoughts come from, then counter it with positive thinking. It is helpful to have an intelligible or understandable and logical thinking. Self-discipline is also of great magnitude in personal development. One should build and balance their motivation to keep them in the mood for personal transformation. We have scores of ways to work through the processes. You can go online today to find additional support. On the Internet, you will find a wide spectrum of New Age articles. These articles are geared to inspire you to practice meditation, biofeedback, yoga, neurofeedback, radionics, physical exercise, continuous learning, and more. Meditation in personal transformation, self-esteem. There are many diseases that attack us humans all over the world. These diseases are caused by bacteria or viruses. There are even some diseases that are caused by bad habits, such as smoking, drinking, alcoholic drinks, using illegal drugs, and even through sex. Aside from that, there are some diseases that are suffered from urban communities that are called psychosis. Health problems of our soul and body sometimes happen because of climate change and even quality degradation of our environment. To overcome these kinds of diseases, many pharmaceutical technologies all over the world have been developing many medicines and curing these kinds of problems. Nevertheless, there are still new diseases that have been discovered that gives a bigger problem in our communities. Even the well-developed countries like the United States of America and the European countries are still trying to find some solutions about these problems. Medicines and pharmaceutical technologies cannot fully solve or cure these problems, and they even create some side effects that could harm the patient and would eventually result into a more complicated situation like death. Meditation is also considered as one of some healing therapies that are being used nowadays. It has been an alternative medicine by some in various parts of the world. Everybody can heal his or her pains in so many approaches. An example is, whenever we feel pain, we usually buy some medicine in a drugstore, or we visit our personal doctors on how we could get rid of the pain. On the other hand, we sometimes just try to sleep if we are suffering from headaches or we get tired. According to biological science, our body has an immune system that would stop all the bacteria and viruses from penetrating our body. We get sick when the immune system is no longer able to do its job. What is self-healing through meditation? Meditation is actually used as an alternative healing. Self-healing is a healing process that uses our mind and energy and our desire to believe that our illness will be cured. Meditation can also be a tool in developing our inner energy to heal our illnesses and transform into healthier and fresher conditions. Meditation can develop our inner energy in healing our health problems. It awakens our immune systems in our body to work and heal our illnesses. When we are on a relaxed condition, our inner energy will automatically improve the condition of our mind, body, and soul. What kind of illness can meditation heal? Actually, all kinds of illnesses can be healed through meditation. Meditation can heal these illnesses directly, or it may take time in healing. Illnesses such as back pain, head pain, nerve pain, stress, hypertension, cardiovascular problems, anemia, stroke, and leukemia are only some illnesses that can be cured through meditations. 2 methods of simple meditation. Try the stand-up position in meditation. Stand up freely on the floor. If the person cannot stand up on his own, ask someone to help the person to stand up and let him lean on the wall. Try to close your eyes and try to relax. Feel the energy inside your body and the energy of the earth around you. Do not forget to have faith that all your illnesses will be healed. Try to breathe normally for about 15 to 30 minutes. Some life-threatening illnesses, such as leukemia and cancers, have been healed through this kind of meditation. The sitting position. This meditation is similar to the stand-up position, meditation only that you will be sitting down with your legs crossed. Do the Reiki. Reiki in personal transformation, self-esteem. Do you feel happy with your life? Do you feel a need to develop a life where you have harmony and peace? Do you want to have a healthy, sound mind and body? Are you aware of the new inexplicable medicine for this? How about this? Did you hear about the latest Japanese healing solution that helps you make personal change or transformation? The solution is called Reiki. Reiki is termed in Japanese language as Rei, which may mean a higher power, and Ki, which stands for life force energy. Reiki, then, is a Japanese term that means conscientiously or consistently guided life force energy. It is a hands-on healing process that works with the electromagnetic energy fields of the body in order to straighten or change something to fit the situation, such as the mental, emotional, and physical components. Through the intellectual energy life forces, it sends healing powers to the areas of the body needing it the most. It is also a good relaxation and stress-reducing practice, in that way promoting the body's healing process. Reiki practices promote healing, which through techniques by laying the hands on the body while allowing the life force to flow into its entirety. If the life force energy is low, it means that there is a high risk of getting sick or becoming apprehensive or stressed. We are healthy and strong when our life force energy is high. It may be allied with the body's resistance. Just like the life force, when the body's resistance is low, we are more prone to bad health. When it is high, we are far from getting ill. When a person is treated through Reiki healing, that person exudes a breathtaking glow that it flows and radiates all throughout that person. Curing the person's emotions, mind and spirit and body creates an abundance of effects that compounds to the body's well-being. It gives the body a feeling of being relaxed, as well as peace from within. As a complement to medical remedies, Reiki healing alleviates one's in-progress state of health. It is astonishingly proven to promote the body's recuperation. In works on treating all known illnesses while relieving the side effects that find the middle ground in alternative medicines. Reiki healing is a reliable and natural method for promoting self-development, healing, and personal transformation. It is such a mind-blowing healing approach that it may be applied by everyone. The psychic use of life force energies may, from top to bottom, improve anybody's health and quality of life. The capability to learn Reiki is uncomplicated and straightforward, but it is not taught in the normal manner. Convey of the aptitude is passed on to the learner during attunement. It is when the Reiki master tolerates the student to tap Reiki for the body's complete transformation and healing process. It is not about religious conviction or any sacred affiliation. It does not follow a specific system of belief, nor does it require belief in certain things. Because it comes from the higher power, you have no control over it. Whether or not you believe in it, it is bound to work, for it comes from God. We all must go through the self-healing phase, which pushes us to make personal transformation. Reiki is one of the techniques we can use to productively assist us through the processes of making those personal changes. People of all occupations can find some benefit from Reiki, which will also train the mind for personal transformation. We can reap many benefits from practicing Reiki. Go online today to learn more about how the practices work. Cognitive therapy in transformation, personal transformation, and self-esteem. Fighting depression to make personal transformations. One of the respected doctors, Robert Westermeyer, set out to market the book, Kicking Depression's Ugly Butt. The book is based on cognitive learning. Because so many people are struggling with depression, cognitive learning is promoted. According to experts, the approach is successful with helping people to fight depression. In addition, an individual can prevent a relapse. This book discusses many different reasons that depression occurs. Readers can start to understand the condition while breaking the cycle. The first chapter of the book deals with the spiral that depression creates in individuals. This chapter is focused on a cognitive model of depression. The cognitive model enables the individual to understand the causes of depression. Some of these causes may include negative thinking, tragic life events, or biochemical abnormalities. Signs of depression can be withdrawal from social activities, negative thinking, and self-focused attention. It is important for a reader to understand depression in order to get rid of depression. The second chapter is focused on the recovery from depression. This chapter is focused on the positive patches of relief that are provided to an individual who is in a recovery period from depression. A depressed individual usually experiences a period of moderate mood improvement. This improvement may last for only a short while. Through cognitive learning, an individual will learn how to make a recovery period last for a long period of time. This is a chapter that is dedicated to finding periods of respite among the waves of depression. Activity planning is a very healthy part of cognitive learning. Another chapter of the book discusses the systematic process of cognitive therapy. This is a way in which an individual is given the power to monitor negative thinking. An individual is given the skills needed to test out negative thinking and to test the thoughts for accuracy. This allows an individual to realize what thoughts have a basis and what thoughts can be considered untrue. This is very important in developing a healthy thinking pattern. A healthy thinking pattern is necessary for an individual to lead a flourishing life. Metacognition is defined in another chapter. Metacognition is the human ability to dispute, change, and examine thinking behaviors. When an individual is depressed, it has been proven that an individual tends to delve into a negative thinking pattern. It is important for an individual to break out of his negative thinking pattern and learn how to use metacognition. There are varieties of exercises that are designed to assist readers in adapting this powerful learning tool. Other chapters in the book deal with the topics of anxiety, motivation, anger, social skills, and preventing relapse. This is a very helpful book that can assist an individual through depression. An individual is able to get rid of recession and to lead a healthy life. Depression has been described as an ugly black dog that tends to follow a person. It is important to recognize the symptoms of depression and to deal with those symptoms. Hopelessness not only affects the individual, but also the people involved in that individual's life. An individual who is depressed can greatly benefit from cognitive learning. Cognitive learning is a process in which an individual is given the power to understand their thoughts, feelings, and emotions. In order to make the right decisions, it is important to understand the emotions and thoughts that guide our decisions. This is a necessary tool for an individual to cultivate and use on a daily basis. Each of us is in control of our future destinies. We just have to be willing to take control of our own lives one step at a time. Go online to see what radionics can do for you. Radionics in Personal Transformation Self-Esteem. The latest areas of self-development have begun to include the study and new science of radionics. Many people have never heard of radionics before. Radionics is believed to produce an acting power that is said to promote a realization that allows an individual to focus on their deepest dreams and desires. The products of radionics are magnetic sources with powerful boards. These products are very easy to use and to understand. The characteristic principles behind the beliefs of radionics are designed to target an individual's subliminal mind. The subliminal area of the mind is part of the conscious that we have little awareness of. Advertisers have been using subliminal messages for years in order to target a group of people to use their products or services. An example of a subliminal message is easily seen when someone watches a movie in a movie theater. The individual is targeted before the movie starts with pictures and ads and happy people eating popcorn and drinking soda. This is a subliminal message. An individual after seeing these ads may think that they are hungry or thirsty and head to the concession area. The principles of radionics represent drawings of oval shapes. The oval shapes then rest on the magnetic board's crown. This links to a different central parts concerning the 7-column triple equal-size rhomb. This is one of the suggestive features that are supposed to tune in to the subliminal mind and lead to greater self-development. During the process of radionics, an individual has to choose between 30 suggestive cards. The cards are designed to affect the powers of the subliminal mind. These cards are created to encourage and influence behavior. Once an individual has chosen a card, then the individual is supposed to lay the card on the board. The card must lay in the representation that surrounds the individual's subliminal mind. Radionics is activated within 30 minutes. The powers begin to work on the consciousness of the subliminal mind. The irradiators that surface during the process of radionics begin to treat the individual who is suffering greatly from physical or mental illness. The user is then helped in whatever way is needed. This may mean that the individual is helped either physically or mentally. Radionics is a new process that assists an individual in the journey of self-development. Many individuals wonder why self-development has become such a big deal. It is because an individual must be willing to develop the self in order to achieve success in life. This success can relate to personal or business relationships. An individual should never stop their growing or their learning. This is a process that could be continuous throughout one's lifetime. There are several different techniques to assisting a person in developing the inner and outer self. A simple technique is keeping a journal. This allows an individual to get to know their inner thoughts and feelings. This is a very basic technique in self-development that anyone can use. An individual suffering from a serious physical or mental illness may want to try radionics in order to further their self-development. Radionics is a new tool on the journey to self-development. Many people will benefit from trying several self-development practices. There are several websites that specialize in the teachings of radionics. This is a new type of self-development that many individuals have benefited greatly from. As we head down a path of self-discovery and self-development, we must not be afraid to try new techniques or new development ideas. It is from the new techniques that we learn the most about our inner self. This is part of the amazing journey of self-development. Well-being in personal transformation self-esteem. We all must discover our way through self-development, which the self must be discovered. We must strive toward good physical and mental health. By striving for good health and peace, it makes personal transformation easier. When an individual is in a healthy state of mind, that individual will be able to see more clearly and to make better decisions. If we find ourselves to be in a negative frame of mind, then our life will take a very negative turn in the wrong direction. Some people believe that poor health is often a state of mind. New evidence proved this to be untrue, but if an entity can manage stress well, they find that rarely do they experience colds, headaches, or other health conditions. Stress is simply how we internally deal with our external environment. By learning to manage stress in our external environment, then we will have a healthier domestic environment. This is the same for physical and mental diseases that may afflict a person. A positive attitude can be a healing miracle all in itself. We can use some of the latest or new age solutions to help us work on wellness and personal transformation. For example, one can benefit from using the latest radionics. The newest invention is a new tool that is proven to help people develop the inner. Radionics is a form of practice that deals with tapping into the powers of the subliminal mind. Radionics products are designed to encourage certain types of behaviors and to encourage a healthier well-being. The subliminal mind is part of our conscious mind that we are usually not aware of. The subliminal mind is part of our consciousness that controls specific actions and desires. We may be unconscious of where these actions or desires come from. For example, if an individual is watching television and sees a picture of a beautiful beach, that entity may decide that they want to walk on the sandy shores of that beach. This is a subliminal message that affects a conscious decision. We may be unconscious of why we want to go to this beach. We are just aware that it is a desire of ours. There are several radionics talismans that are believed to assist an individual in the development of health and well-being. One of the talismans is the Good Night Pocket Radionics product. This product is considered to permit an individual to sleep without interruption, to awake refreshed and feel rested. This is perfect for anyone who has trouble sleeping at night. The second well-being talisman is the Anti-Asthma Protector. This talisman is designed to ward off asthma and the environmental elements that can cause an individual to have an asthma attack. The chemotherapeutic talisman is designed to promote physical and mental harmony during the trying sessions of chemotherapy. The curative talisman is designed to protect your loved ones. This talisman looks over the health and well-being of those that you love the most. The digester is a type of talisman that is designed to promote healthy digestion. With this talisman, indigestion quickly becomes a problem of the past. The healer is a type of talisman that is designed to assist in the speedy recovery of loved ones. This talisman also comes in a pocket version that an individual can easily carry around with them. The Radionics Antidepressive Talisman is considered to reduce the stress and take the edge off depression. This talisman promotes a positive attitude and glowing state of well-being. This talisman also comes in a pocket-size edition. The Radionics Ayurveda is a way for an individual to find harmony and balance in a most natural way. The Rejuvenator is a type of talisman that is designed to make an individual feel young again. These talismans are specifically designed to promote health and well-being. Develop through personal transformation self-esteem. By developing a higher plane of mental strength, one can reach his or her highest level of goals and dreams. In order to develop a higher plane of consciousness, however, one must follow 3 major steps. It all boils down to making positive transformations. Awareness can be reached by looking within the self and assessing our emotions and thinking patterns. This assessment allows us to recognize our individual strengths and weaknesses. We are permitted to see areas that we may want to change or work on. Usually, greater mental supremacy is only an adjustment away. To make a shift in mental consciousness, we must first scrutinize our own personal perspective. We must evaluate and judge a circumstances in its entirety. To do this, we must be able to see our own perspective relative to with whom we are dealing with. We must work to establish relative perspectives. By doing this, we are able to determine if our perspective is too broad or too narrow in thinking. As an individual, we should be able to ask perspective-enlarging questions that the brain responds to in an appropriate manner. This is very important when searching for greater mental supremacy. We must be able to see clearly, to have a new perspective, a mind-expanding perspective on the current situations that are affecting our lives. The second submission for gaining clearer mental consciousness is to try to acquire the perspective of others. It is here that we seek to examine the perspectives of others based on their own individual facts and ideas. This is a great way to better understand those we love and interact with on a daily basis. We must essentially step into their minds. First, we must figure out if the individual is using their left brain analytical perspective with its details and divisions. If not, then we must evaluate if the individual receives their ideas from a right brain perspective. The right brain perspective tends to ignore the basic logic of the left brain. By figuring this out, we can actually understand where someone else is coming from. We can gain insight into another's unique perspectives and decision-making processes. This allows us to be better able to work with other people. The third implication for increasing your mental strength is to look for new perspectives and ideas. It seems that ideas usually reveal their own form of a limited perspective or outlook on life. One must be able to evaluate and discern the perspective that an idea is based on. Someone who has a broad perspective might have ideas that are narrower in perspective due to their own personal educational and cultural biases. Usually these biases are instilled in people as early as childhood. In order to understand if an idea is an appropriate solution, we must be able to take an idea apart and search for the root. Once we find the root, we may clearly see that this is the ideal solution, or we may suggest an even better solution. By following these three suggestions, an individual will be able to reach a greater level of mental supremacy. The second part of mental control is physical power. When we take chances and make positive changes in our own lives, this is reaching for levels of higher physical supremacy. Physical reign can be defined as the actions that we take. It is these actions that dictate our lives. It is important to not only be a person of words, but also a person of action. A higher level of mental and physical supremacy is easily attainable. We just have to be willing to take a few simple steps. These first few steps are the initial steps that lead us toward a better life. We all wish that we could change this or that. Through greater mental and physical reign, we are given the power to change and create our own individual futures. Conclusion. In order to improve our life, we must make personal changes. It is the part of the self-development that makes us stronger as we carry on to the end. We must make this a lifetime process, since the mission is to connect with the inner self. Once an entity is connected with the inner self, that one will find amazing inner power. The self is buried within us. We must practice and use techniques that will benefit. Many of the techniques were outlined in this report. However, if any were missed, we too are still learning. Take some time to visit the Super Information Highway and make a connection with the New Age solutions that may have proven to assist people with self-development, reducing stress, making personal changes, and more.